Hello and welcome to Castles and Legends. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. We are in Brussels, the capital of Belgium. Now the boys are here to see the jazz festival and drink lots of beer. I'm kind of just tagging along and I thought we could go and see what sights Brussels have. En route to the hotel, we wandered through the Royal Gallery of St Hubert Shopping Arcade, which has been open since 1847. After checking into the hotel, I left the guys to the jazz festival and went for a stroll and came across this beautiful church, the Church of Our Lady of Victories. I love Gothic architecture, so I had to go and have a look inside. This place is absolutely huge and so beautiful. The stained glass is incredible. Admission to the church is completely free, but a donation is appreciated. It's about a 15-minute walk from the sort of city centre where the Grand Square and things is, but it is well worth it. The church we see today was mostly constructed in the 15th century, but it was built on the site of a much earlier church, a small modest chapel built in 1304 by the Guild of Crossbowmen. According to legend, a young girl from Antwerp had a vision that the Virgin Mary asked her to take her image to the chapel. Following this, the chapel quickly became a place of pilgrimage. The outside of this building is just as beautiful as the inside. Just look at that architecture. Amazing. Just across the road from Our Lady of Victories is this rather nice little park. Just a short stroll further and I come across a much larger park. And the Royal Park currently contains some rather interesting statues. They mark the 40th anniversary of the comic icon Les Chars. I am so surprised at how many delightful little parks there are in this city. You never seem to be far from one, and they make a lovely little stop, a little place to relax in between sightseeing. We are in Grand Place this morning. I've got up a bit extra early so we could have a little look around because the jazz festival is on here later. I was here yesterday and it was so busy, so I'm hoping we can have a nice look at the beautiful buildings. Brussels Town Hall was erected between 1401 and 1455, and this beautiful Gothic building is the only remaining medieval building in Grand Place. Tours of the hall are available for €15. Sadly, I didn't have quite enough time on this trip. Gazing around Grand Place, you will notice nearly 40 guild halls, all adorned with golden statues intent on emphasising the city's 17th century wealth. As well as all the cafes and restaurants, you will also find the Museum of the City of Brussels in Grand Place, and a beer museum. Belgium has, apparently, over 400 beer breweries, so it is kind of fitting. On we go for our sightseeing, and next off to the Cathedral of St Michael and St Gudula. The Romanesque church's construction began in the 11th century, replacing an earlier chapel, and was largely complete in its current Gothic form by the 16th century, though its interior was frequently modified in the following centuries. In 1962, the church was elevated to cathedral status. The cathedral's origins are obscure, but historians agree that as early as the 9th century, a chapel dedicated to St. Michael probably stood in its place. The stained glass windows in the cathedral are absolutely breathtaking, and some of them date back as early as 1540. Entry to the cathedral is again completely free, although a donation to help with upkeep is appreciated. Our next site was a good bus ride away from the city centre, but it is iconic, and in the weather we had, you can see how beautiful and sunny it is. We had to go see it. It was the Atomium. The Atomium was designed and built for the Brussels World's Fair in 1958, for which it was the flagship building and emblem. It represented an iron unit cell, 9 iron atoms, magnified 165 billion times. Next, I'll give you a little peek at the Atomium light show. If this affects you, then skip to 7 minutes and 38 seconds. The views over Brussels from the Atomium are just stunning. Standard entry to the Atomium is €16 and includes entrance to the Design Museum Brussels. I have to confess, the museum was not my thing. I prefer a day out to IKEA. We started our last day hunting down the iconic mannequin Piss, the statue of a little boy, urinating. Now for breakfast. Well, you can't come to Belgium and not have a Belgian waffle. Trust me, every calorie was worth it. Next stop is the Belgian Comic Strip Centre. The centre tells the history of comic books, from modern day all the way back to, well, apparently, Egyptian hieroglyphics. The centre also contains a number of temporary and permanent exhibits, including the Smurf Village. We had so much fun exploring the comic book museum. I really recommend this one. Standard adult admission is €12. Well, I couldn't have a weekend away without visiting at least one palace. The palace was constructed between 1866 and 1883. For the building to be completed, 3,000 houses had to be torn down. At the end of the Second World War, the retreating German forces started a fire in the palace. In order to destroy it, the tower collapsed and part of the building was heavily damaged. By 1948, most of the building was repaired and the cupola tower was rebuilt 2.5 meters higher than the original. The palace is free to visit, so well worth stopping by. My final stop was to the Royal Museums of Fine Arts of Belgium. The Old Masters Museum is dedicated to European painters from the 15th to the 18th centuries. The museum was founded in 1801 by Napoleon. If you are an art lover, then this is a must. You could spend hours gazing at these beautiful paintings. Entrance to the museum is €10. I really enjoyed exploring Brussels. It may not be the most beautiful city in Europe, but it is so vibrant. There's a lot to do and a lot to see here. So come here with an open mind and you will enjoy it. Thank you for joining me exploring Brussels. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please do give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I really hope to see you again exploring somewhere else new sometime soon.